Hello, hello, hello. Today I am back with another tutorial and it's this adorable top. Yay, round of applause for that top because it's so cute. So that's what we're going to be making today. I originally made it with a DK cotton weight yarn, so paint box if you're interested. I do recommend using that, it worked perfectly, but today I just wanted to use what I had to show you how to make this. It's going to be like a made to measure style tutorial, so you can kind of use whatever, to be honest. But today I'm going to be using a 4-ply because I just had it laying around and I wanted to use it up. I'm going to be using a 4-ply for the bulk of the top and then a DK for the trim, but I do really recommend doing DK for the whole thing. So I'm pretty sure I used a 3.5mm top for the first one, and I'm using a 2.5 today just because it's 4-ply and it's cups, so I don't want it to be too see-through. This is the first one I've already made. I'm going to show you how to make those first. But yeah, I use US crochet terms. You might want some stitch markers, some scissors, a darning needle, but that is it. 2 colors, one for the body, one contrast color. I'm trying to think, is there any other info I need to give you? But I think that's it. I think we'll just head straight into doing the cups. Oh, a measuring tape. You need a measuring tape to measure how long you need to do the cup. Okay, let me get that. I've already got the first one made. It's quite quick to whip these up. It's basically a sideways cup like this, and we're gonna obviously have a strap here and then a little trim, so keep that in mind when you're making this. To make the first middle section here, which we're gonna work out from, you're gonna want to take your measuring tape and measure from the side of your, like, kind of follow your armpit down, the side of your boob to your nipple, and take that measurement. Mine was 6, and crochet a chain to that length. So I'm gonna take you in close and we're gonna do that now, but that's how you measure. That's obviously not the length of the whole thing, we are growing it around that, but that's how you start. So yeah, mine is 6 for reference. Let's get in close and do it. Little setup we've got going on. I'm gonna put this one that I made the other day to the side while we make our second one. So again, I'm using a 2.5mm hook. You can use whatever you want, but just remember that it's a cup and it's going to be see-through if your hook is too big. So my measurement that I want is 6 inches, so I'm going to pop that there, and I'm just going to crochet, like I said, a chain to that length. The yarn I'm using is Paint Box Cotton 4-ply in the colour Mocha, if anyone was wondering. So as I've already done one of these, I know that the chain length I need is 42. Note down whatever yours is so that you can use it for your second cup, and it's going to be exactly the same for both. Okay, so once you've got your chain to the length of your measurement, add 2 more chains to it because we're going to use those to turn. So we're now going to double crochet into all of these stitches, but we're going to skip the first 2, crochet into the third from your hook, a double crochet. Now you're just going to follow that and do a double crochet in every single stitch. Once you've got all your double crochets, in this last stitch I'm going to do 2, a chain, and another 2. This is going to make us like turn it around, and it's going to be our corner that we're going to grow from. Okay, so there's the first one, the second one, a chain, and then 2 more. I'm also going to make sure I'm catching in the tail from where we started, just so I don't have to crochet that in later. And then we're going to go and double crochet in all of these chain stitches again. So just that stitch that you've got left, however you do your work into your start chains, if you've got 1 stitch, 2 stitch, whatever, we're just gonna double crochet in all of them to the same stitch count that's on the other side. So I will be back once I'm at the end of this row. Okay, so before I take you on to the next bit, I just want to show you the end of this row because I've worked into that chain 2 that we started with, but I'm only going to do that on this first row. I'm not going to do that going forward. All of the turning chains won't count as a stitch, but I've just done that on this row just to give it a clean starting base. So now you've got this first row, it's a good opportunity to hold it up just like we did originally with the, what's it called? Measuring tape, just to check that it's the right measurement for you. Yeah, so once you've got this first row, we're basically just going to repeat that for the whole cup. Let me show you. So you can see it's just row upon row of that same thing. Double crocheting one side. In the end, it's always 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets, and then you continue. Each row you're working into that chain 1 gap on the end of the last stitch. So I'll show you that little corner piece on the next row, but then you're on your own. I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows in total, but you're just gonna do it by sight and by holding it up to yourself. You basically just want it to fully cover your boob. Remember, we are gonna have a little chain, so if you're somebody that wants it on the smaller side, you know, consider that, but I mostly recommend covering at least the majority for the cup. And then once you're done with that, you're just going to fasten off and make 2 of them, exactly the same on both sides. So I'll just show you for this next row. Chain 2 to start, like that, and we're turning it round, and then we're just going into, it's going to focus every single stitch. Okay, so I've just double crocheted that entire side, including the stitches on the end. You can see this little hole that we made in the previous row for the chain 1. That's where I'm going to place these increased stitches. So in that gap we're doing 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then you're going to continue to place a double crochet in all of the stitches of the other side. I'm going to come back to you once I've got 8 rows in total, so that's 8 on either side, but 8 rows in total. I'm going to come back to you once I've got 8. You're going to do however much you need to cover your whole boob, and then we're going to connect them together at the back with a strap. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so once you have both of your pieces, don't fasten off after the second one. We're now going to start working on the strap that attaches the two, that goes around the back. So we'll do a couple rows and then we'll measure to see how long we want to do it. So you can see the edge is, you know, is an edge. So we're going to want to work into that as many stitches as you want, however you want to do it to make it flat. I usually do 3 stitches for every 2 rows, so like 1 stitch there, 1 there, 1 there. I'll show you up close when I start doing it, but we're just gonna lay the base row. Okay, so I'll take you closer in so you can see what I'm gonna do. Okay, so we're still attached at this bottom corner. I'm gonna start with a chain 2. So now I'm doing a stitch in each row and between each row. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue this until I reach the end. Okay, so that's the whole row there, like that. We are just gonna carry on double crocheting, chain 2 to turn, double crocheting, but we need to know how long to do it for, what our measurement we're working towards is going to be. So I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so we're going to work out the measurement for this back piece. It's kind of a bit of a trial, well, not a trial and error, but a check on as you go kind of deal, because you want it to be the perfect like combination of fitted, because we're tying it up in the middle, so it's nice to kind of be able to pull it a bit closer and give yourself a bit more support. So you want it to be tight but not obviously too small. You don't want it to be too loose. So what we're going to do, we've got both of our cups and we're going to measure each of those cups, and also think about where that stops for you in your chest, because this is what we're going to measure, because we're not going to just do the whole measurement. We're going to leave an inch or 2 in the middle for the tie to pull it in a bit closer. We're going to crochet from this cup and then we're going to sew on the other one. So when you're trying it on, you can just stitch marker it in place, hold it up. Yeah, then you can just hold it up to yourself and see what you think. I think I'm going to go to 30 first, and then I'm going to stitch marker it on and hold it up to myself so you guys can see. Yeah, I think actually, no, 32. 32 makes more sense. I'm going to work to 32 as my full measurement, but obviously we've already got the cups and that takes up some of that measurement. So you're going to want to measure your cup. So mine's about 8.5. Yeah, 8.5. Well, or is it 9? I'm going to round it up to 9. So 2 9s is 16, 18. So I'm going to take 18 off of 32, which is maybe something I'll have to calculate. 30 to 20. Shouldn't be taking it. 24. No. 1 second. So mine's 14 once I minus the total bust that I want, minus the cups, 14 inches. So that's the amount I'm going to make sure that this back section is. So I'll start the measurement from here, the end of this cup, until the end. Keep on double crocheting it, and then yeah, like I said, I'm gonna stitch marker the other cup to attach it and show you what that looks like trying it on, and work out if I need to take out a couple rows or add a couple rows. But yeah, for now we're just double crocheting until we have that measurement. Hello, I'm back and I have done my 14 inches of back panel, so I thought I would show you how I'm going to connect this other cup and we can see if it fits or not, or if we need to add any more rows. I have some stitch markers and I haven't fastened off, my yarn is still attached, so I'm just going to put one in that loop so it doesn't all unrun first, and then I'm literally just going to get the other one and put it through enough rows so that I can hold it up to myself and it doesn't all move around. Oh, I'd say that's basically perfect. I might take off one row just because that's like exact, and like I said before, I want that kind of inch in the middle, so I might literally just take off one row, but this is just as an idea how you want it to fit. We are going to add a little tie in the middle, so that will be how it connects, and then it will be kind of secured with the straps as well on either side. But those calculations seem to be right, so that's great. I'm just going to take one row off and then I'll show you how I'm going to connect it. Don't fasten off your yarn because we'll just use the yarn that is still attached to attach the other side, and then we'll start creating the mesh stitch bottom length part. Okay, so another important thing to note for this is that you're going to want to make sure that your cups are both facing the same way in terms of like wrong side and right side. So I'm going to have this side facing out, so I'm gonna fold in my little top like this, make sure this side is lining up facing the same way, and lay that flat on top of it. I'll just show you and then I'll take you in closer. So this is basically what we're looking at here. We're going to crochet up this side. So these are the sides that match. We obviously want to have the seam on the inside, so we flip it over like that, and that's the side we're going to crochet. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Basically, make sure whatever your right side is that matches your front one, you're going to crochet it right sides together. Okay, so here is my back side and here is the cup, and the yarn is still attached here, and to get my hook onto the other side so I'm crocheting in the right direction, I'm just going to pull out that loop a little bit, turn it round. I'm gonna go through the start of this bit and yarn over and pull through, and now we're on the right side. So I'm just going to single crochet this cup to the back through each of these stitches. If you remember the way we placed the stitches, it was one in each row and one between each row. So just for your guide on this side, obviously you're going to go through each stitch on this side, but that'll make it lie nice and flat. So I'm just going to chain one to start, just so we've got a bit of room here, and I'm going to go through this stitch and into that first stitch there, and just single crochet into the gap between the row, into the next stitch, single crochet into the next row, into the next stitch, and you're just going to do this across the entire row until both sides are attached, and then we can fasten off the yarn at the end there, because when we start our next section we're going to start at a different point, so we'll just fasten off after that. Okay, so I've just finished that. You can see this is the other side of our edge, nice and clean, can't really notice, and then when they're facing in, the stitches are the same way around, which is just nice and clean really. So now we're going to start this mesh edge that goes down, and you're going to be able to do this for whatever length you like. We are going to start at the top corner and work our way all around the edge until the other top corner. It's going to kind of make this effect where it goes out a bit just by the way that the top is sloped, and it like that's just kind of how it sits. It's a bit diagonal at the front, which I think is quite nice. So let's get our same color yarn. It doesn't really matter what way up your top is at this point, it's the same on both sides, but we're just gonna fasten on, not in the gap but in the first stitch next to it. So not this one but this one. Like I said, of either side it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna do a chain 3 because this is gonna be a double crochet mesh stitch, so anytime we turn around to change row we're gonna do a chain 3. So chain 3, and then we're gonna skip a stitch and we're gonna double crochet into the next one. We're gonna chain 1, skip a stitch and double crochet crochet into the next one. We're going to continue this around the whole. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next one, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next one. For this cup, we're just going to carry that double crochet mesh stitch all across the whole cup, and then I'll show you when we get here. Obviously it's slightly different because we don't have the easy stitches to work into. Okay, so I've just gotten to the end of the cup here, so you can see we've got the different rows. So I'm gonna just try out a couple things and see firstly what looks good. You can do the same, or you can just copy whatever I decide to do. Let's just try skipping the row and going into the stitch between the rows and see if that pulls it too tight. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go into each stitch that lays between each row. I like that it pulls it a little bit tighter because it means that this back strap will keep its structure a little bit better, otherwise it's quite stretchy. So I'm going to do that. Continue. Obviously when I get back to this side I'll have the normal stitches to work into until I reach the same stitch on the other side that I started with, and then I'll show you how to move on to the next row. Okay, so I've just made it to that last stitch there, just the same as the other side, and then I'm going to do chain 3. We're going to do this for every row, and then we're basically just working into the double crochets from the row below all the way around till we get to the other side. We're just going to repeat that until you have the length that you want, basically. Nice and easy. So chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, just like that. So I'm just going to carry on, and then I'll show you once I reach the other side, just so you know where to crochet into for your last stitch, and then yeah, just repeating that for the rest of the top. Okay, so I'm at the end of this row. Ignore that cat hair there, and I just wanted to show you where you're going to crochet into from that first initial chain 3. So you're going to skip 1 and chain 1 like usual. You're going to go into the second chain of the chain 3 like that, and that's going to be the same for every single row because we're always going to start with that chain 3, so we're always going to end in that second stitch from the previous row. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. So now that you've got the first couple rows done of this nice little mesh stitch, we are just continuing that until you get to the length you want. So let me just show you, give you an idea what it looks like, and you'll see more as it goes how the front starts to sit. It's like I said, it's got this kind of like diagonal vibe, which is really nice. I'm gonna do mine a little bit longer than the last one I did, so I think I'll go to about here this time. But yeah, just go to wherever you're happy with the length, because that's the entire length. We're not adding a trim or anything to the bottom. Yeah, carry on. I'll let you know how many rows I do when I come back, and then we're gonna start on the sleeves and then the trim and then the tie in the middle, and then it's done. So it's a pretty quick project, but yeah, I'm gonna do all those rows off camera and probably come back to you tomorrow to do the final bits. Okay, so it's been a couple days and I have finished this bottom mesh section here. Mine ended up being 20 rows, but obviously completely up to you how many rows you do. Just, you know, hold it up to yourself as you go and see if you like it. But that is done now. Next, we're gonna do the straps. I've already got one going just so I can show you how to measure. So I always start with just doing a quick like rough measurement of like holding it there, feeling on the other side where I think it would go, seeing what it is. So 12 inches is what I was working towards for this piece. I'll show you how to do it specifically in a second, but we are starting these from the very edge of the cups. That's how you get that really nice kind of sweetheart neckline. Obviously, if you want to pull yours in further, you can have your straps going from literally any part because we're just attaching it on this cup. So whatever you want, you can do. But the way I love it is, you know, a really wide strap. So yeah, get that immediate first measurement. You can also measure a vest top you've got. I remember the first time I made it, that's what I did. Work towards that measurement and then we're going to adjust from there. It's a very quickly worked strap, so don't worry too much. Right, so I'll show you how to do the strap now. I've brought you in a bit closer. Apologies if you can hear the absolute racket going on outside. I tried to wait, but he's been at it all morning. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start at the very edge of your cup. So just where the cup section meets the back section here. Like I said, if you want your strap to start more like here, just stitch mark the place on both cups that you want to start. Just make sure they're the same, you can totally do that. So we're gonna get our yarn and just attach it to the hook with a slip knot. So we're going to start at this outer edge. It doesn't matter what way the top is facing because we're alternating stitches anyway, so there's always going to be some facing the front, some facing the back, so that's not too much of a concern. We are going to go in on that very corner stitch where our cup meets the back panel. See, there's this tiny little gap here, so we're going to start with a standing single crochet in that stitch there. Then we're going to do 4 more, like so. This is our little base that we're going to carry on working into. So we'll do a single crochet row just to start, and then every row from now on is going to be double crochet to match the rest of the top. So chain 2 and into that first single crochet, and then each of the single crochets. So you're going to have 5 double crochets for this row. So we are also going in that standing single crochet that we started the row with, like that. So now we're literally just going to carry on doing this until you reach the length that I told you about before. So mine is going to be 12 inches, yours is going to be whatever you measured or estimated. We're going to always chain 2 between each row, and then we're not working into that start chain ever, we're just working into our 5 stitches like this. So I'll come back to you once I've got the 12 inches of strap, and I'll show you how you can try it on, attach it to the other side, see if it fits, and that sort of thing. So just to show you, that's kind of what it looks like. It's clean from both sides as well. You can see that's why it doesn't really matter where you start it. Okay, so once you have your length of double crochets to the inch length that you measured, make a note of how many rows you've got, and we're then gonna attach it to the back. I've already done the other side. So basically for this, it's kind of the same process of, like, if you've got a strappy top or a vest top of some kind, measure your armpit width from that, or just go in with a rough, just feel it out. Remember, our straps come in really close to the armpit though, so go in there, have a quick measure. I went for 4.5 inches. We'll see if that works out. So what I'm going to do basically is go to where we've started here and measure 4.5 inches and put a stitch marker. You're going to want to count how many rows you've got to that stitch marker and do it on the other side as well. Just place your stitch markers there. We do one strap at a time. Obviously I've already done one, but you're on your first one. I'll take you in closer to show you this, but I'm going to attach the strap like this, and then we're just going to try it on and see how it fits. So don't fasten off your yarn at any point, because you might have to take it off, take some rows out, move around your strap, that kind of thing. Okay, so for this part you are going to want to make sure you are using the right side of your piece. So the best and easiest way to check this is to find your seam here from where we attached the cup to the back panel. So lie it flat, wrong side up, more tangled, and also we want to make sure our strap remains flat. So we're basically attaching here to here, but we don't want to bend the strap at all, like twist the strap I mean. So we're going to take it and hold it next to our stitch marker, and then we're basically going to attach it so the seam is on this side. So you want to place it right sides together so that when you flip it up, the seam is on the inside. You can see there where I've done it this side. So we're going to put the outer edge on this stitch marker here to see how that works. Remember, this back panel stretches. I haven't actually tried this on yet, so we can do that together to see if it works. So like I said before, don't fasten off after this. We're just going to see how it works basically. So let's go ahead and take that out, and we're going to put our hook in. I'm going to turn it around so it's facing the right way to crochet through. Now this bit can be a little fiddly because we're just going to take this yarn, obviously make it a bit close. Don't worry that it's kind of all facing the wrong way. We're just gonna lace our hook through that stitch marked gap and then straight through into our first single crochet on the other side, like that. And then we're just gonna single crochet through the rest of it, placing one single crochet in each of the double crochet stitches. Don't fasten off, just pop a stitch marker in there for now as you can see, that's our nice edge. I'll spin you around so we can try this on and see where we're at. It's going to stretch a bit, but it might be a bit tight. Let's see, we might have to move it back a row. Okay, so once you have that first strap in place, I'm going to just make sure it's the right way round. I'm literally just going to hook it onto my shoulder and see what we're working with there. So obviously ignore how crazy this looks with this t-shirt underneath, but that's how it looks from the front, which, like I said, it's from the side, so it's got that really nice shape. And from the back, it also looks like it's in a good position. It's not falling down my shoulder, it's quite secure, and also the length feels really good actually. I feel like it's not, yeah, it's not too loose, but it's also not too tight, so those measurements worked well. Follow the exact same process for that strap on the other side so that you have two, and then we'll start doing the trim. Hi, it's the next day now, and before we move on, I just wanted to let you know that I moved in my straps by like an inch, because when I tried it on, this cup length was just too long and it wasn't like supporting. So just so you know, we're now going to go in with the trim. I've got this double knit cotton mix, so because it's a bit thicker, I'm gonna change to a 3.5mm hook, and I'll bring you in closer to start this bit. Okay, so we're gonna take our yarn and just attach it to the hook as normal. Make sure you're starting at the right side, so the front of our piece, and we're just going to slip stitch into our corner space at the front of our cup, just like that. And I'm gonna chain 30. I tell a lie, I've actually done 45 because 30 was a little bit too short. I'm then gonna go back and slip stitch into every one of those chain stitches. Okay, so once you reach back to the front of that, we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch as well, and then we're going to start our little scallop to repeat that we're going to do. So it starts with a slip stitch, and then it's a half double crochet, and then in the next stitch it's 3 double crochets, and then it's a half again in the next stitch, and then it's another slip stitch. So that's our little scallop, and we're basically just going to repeat that across the whole top of the cup. So half double crochet, 3 double crochets in the next stitch, then another half double, then another slip stitch, and that's our cute little scallop. So continue that until you reach your strap, and then I'll show you how to carry on. Okay, so once you reach the end, if yours doesn't line up perfectly, mine for some miraculous reason did, don't worry about it. If it's like halfway there, you can just attach it to your strap like that, just end wherever your last stitch ends. If it's the double crochet, I'll just give you an example. Let me go back a bit. So if it ends on a double crochet, just slip stitch into your strap where you are and then continue from there. So now that we reach the strap, we're just going to do a single crochet. So it's working into the side of the stitches, which is kind of never fun, especially because I've got a bigger hook than I originally did it with. So yeah, just single crochet into your strap all the way across the strap, across the back, panel 2, down the inside of the other strap until you reach the front of your other cup, and then you're literally gonna just repeat exactly what you did on the other side. Okay, I'm back round to the front now. This is my back and my sleeves. I ended up just doing 2 crochets into that row, but like fully covering that last stitch of the row because I quite liked the way it looked. I thought it was quite sweet, so that's what I ended up doing, if you like that. So I'm back at the corner in that, slip stitched into that gap, the same as the other side, and I'm just going to do another 45 chains. Okay, so once you've got your chain 45, we're just going to slip stitch back into that chain just like we did on the other side, and you're just going to do that until you reach back into this gap, slip stitch and fasten off. Your top is finished. Let's tie her up. Obviously you've got to darn in the ends, don't shoot the messenger. So here she is, adorable, 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 adorable. I know I keep saying it, but honestly, so cute, and I love this color combo. I'm obsessed with this, the little trim. I think it's adorable. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you have all made mega cute little tops. If you want any more specific tutorials from me, let me know what it is you want to see. I've got a couple fun ones coming up. This was just a highly requested top from last year, so I thought I would make a tutorial, but I've got plenty more where that comes from. If you liked the tutorial, give it a like, let me know what you thought in the comments, subscribe for more. I also do some crochet vlogs. I've been filming one while I've been making this project and a couple other projects, so that's coming soon. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you again soon. Bye!